So I have a lot to say about the Rick Chow trial, and the first thing I'm going to say is that the whole trial is on YouTube. So you're free to watch the trial instead of just getting all your information from social media and the news. Because I've noticed there's a huge racist bias towards Asian when this trial is being reported. And I know many of you are just gonna skip over me and call me blah blah racist or whatever, but I know you're racist to Asians because you won't even hear me out or even look at my evidence. And here's one of the first evidence is that when you go to CBS News and you go to the article, right? So many of you are leaving out the simple fact that yes, Cyrus had a gun. And in this news article, it took them 7 paragraphs, the seventh paragraph, sixth or seventh paragraph, to actually say that yes, prosecutors acknowledged that Carmack Belton had a semi-automatic pistol. That was established in court during the trial as a fact. And here's another news article that talks about Rick Chow not being guilty. However, in this article, they do not establish that yes, Carmack Belton had a pistol. They instead use claimed the team had a gun. Yet why is the AP article saying that yes, the prosecutors acknowledge that yes, the 14-year-old had a pistol? And I can hear so many of you telling me about that's not really bias. Yes, it's bias. And if any of your social media people who are reporting on this trial purposely leave that point out, then yes, they're not telling you the full truth. Secondly, when it comes to chasing people for suspected shoplifting or any crimes, why are people mad about that? People were defending Americans chasing after pickpocketers in Europe. And remember, I'm just saying chasing after people. You're going to add on and attach on the red herring about the whole shooting after. No, just simply chasing after people because you suspect them of shoplifting or pickpocketing you is not a crime. Because one of the first things I ever learned when I took some law classes was about shopkeeper's privilege. But in South Carolina, it's known as merchant's privilege, but it basically follows the same logic. It's a law which recognizes in the United States under which shopkeepers are allowed to detain suspected shoplifters on store property. So as long as they suspect you of shoplifting, it doesn't matter what you know after the fact that he put the waters back. If he made actions that made him be suspected of shoplifting, he can be detained. But shopkeepers sure this don't mean that they get to chase after him. Actually, it does. It's called fresh pursuit. As while common law does permit owners of goods acting on fresh pursuit to use reasonable force to capture them. So yes, they just chased after him. This is just talking about the chase because I know so many of you racists are going to be like, he shot. No. It's just talking about why they are allowed to chase. If they suspect him of stealing, like putting the water bottles in his hoodie and then taking them back out again, and then that's suspicious and can be suspect to shoplifting, yes, they have the right to pursue and chase them. And lastly, no, he was not shot over a water bottle. That's the prosecution's argument. And yeah, if you're going to believe that, then, well, I can't help you because you're just going to be racially biased because that's all you want to believe.
The legal defense. When a person comes to us and says the following sentence, look, a gun was pointed at my son. I thought he was going to die, so I fired and shot. That was the legal defense. There was nothing created.
And that was, Rick Chow's lawyer saying that the case was about how Cyrus pointed a gun at his son. Cyrus pointed a gun at his son. That's the defense that Rick Chow used. Whether you believe it or not, well, that's your problem. Because yes, it's been established that Carmack Belton had a pistol. The prosecution argued that no, they did not point the pistol at Rick Chow's son. But Andy Chow testified that yes, it was pointed at him. Yeah, you can believe that the gun was not pointed at Andy Chow, or you can choose to believe that the gun was pointed at Andy Chow. You can watch Andy Chow's testimony online if you want, but are you really going to? And lastly, if you're going to blame all Asians for the actions of Rick Chow, or even just all Chinese, then how are you any better than the racists you supposedly hate? Maybe you are not. Maybe you just accept that you are racist and you're going to act like a racist because the individual actions means that you get to treat the whole group as a monolith. That's racism. Plain and simple.
Okay. and that'll be all.
Would you like to get any order of cream cheese wonton or spring rolls?
Oh yeah, that'll be fine. Yeah, I'll take some of those.
Which one, the spring rolls